Falcha and welcome. My name is Dawn Beaton. Thanks for joining us here at the Centre for Cape Breton Studies at Cape Breton University. We're excited this week to welcome piper and fiddler Kenneth MacKenzie. Kenneth was born and raised in Mabo, Cape Breton. His parents raised their children speaking Gaelic and immersed them in the local Gaelic music, song and dance tradition. His father moved to Cape Breton from South Uist in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, and his mother was a Rankin born and raised in Mabo, having roots that go back to the Loch Harbour area of Scotland. Kenneth plays fiddle and pipes with the Beaton Sisters Band, his brothers Angus and Callum, and a piping group called Newline, with other pipers from Cape Breton Island. So stay tuned for some great tunes, conversation, and more as we celebrate Cape Breton Island's living Celtic culture. And thank you for joining us. My name is Dawn Beaton, and I'm here with piper, fiddler, and Gaelic speaker Kenneth MacKenzie. Hi, Kenneth.
Hello, Dawn.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Oh, I should say Kimada Hashiv.
Glaiva, Kimada Hose.
Beckinski and Jew.
Glaiva.
Jew, yeah. Only today. And I suppose it's been a busy day for both of us. What were you up to this morning?
We were just at Governor's Pub up the road. They were launching the Kitchen Fest festival that the Gaelic College is putting on the end of June, 1st of July. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty exciting. It looks like it'll be a great event for Cape Breton, and yeah. Great.
Glad to hear it. Lots of good music and some steps thrown in this morning, which was nice.
Yeah.
So speaking of playing gigs and what you were doing this morning, what's on the docket for the next little while for yourself, playing wise?
Well, there's quite a few dances and concerts and matinee pub type things over the summer for sure, which is always fun because you get to play with a variety of people, and it's nice to play for a dance just because it's so laid back and interactive with the crazy dancers. But I'm also going to Orkney overseas with yourself to the Orkney Folk Fest. I'm very excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about that festival over the years.
Me too.
Yeah. And a new project that I'm kind of working on now is a group called Newline. It's the piping ensemble that's associated with the Gaelic College in the Gaelic. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we've had that on the go for a little while, but we're taking it a bit more seriously now and chasing some things.
Great. No, that's fantastic. I know you guys performed at Festival Club and certainly at the College in the Gaelic in the past, and you guys are really energetic. And just so I know, what's the meaning behind the name?
Newline, it's a Gaelic word. It has two meanings, like multiple meanings. One is just that characteristic droning sound that you get with bagpipes. So Newline the pipa, it's kind of the skirl or the drone of the pipes. But it can also mean the murmur of the ocean. Like if you're by the ocean, you get that background constant murmur that's very comforting. But the idea behind the group was to represent and promote that Gaelic style of piping that was brought over from the Highlands 200 years ago. That was fostered here and developed maybe into a bit of its own thing as well over the years. So that meaning of the ocean brings those two traditions together, and we're just trying to celebrate that tradition.
I like that. That's very symbolic and very appropriate, I would say.
Thanks.
And I think you would enjoy playing for dancers as well. That's really what I would say part of the importance of that group coming together is playing dance music, correct?
Yeah, that old Gaelic dance style is very much based on like the rhythm of the dance and push to beel. You can hear that definitely. So we're just trying to get pipers together, maybe to do something other than parades or playing for competitions, which is awesome. But we're a group of people, a group of pipers that have kind of gone down this path in the past. So just getting ourselves together and
it's multi-generational too. There's lots of different different ages. It's not all one age of all the band members too.
Yeah, like we have Paul McNeil there, who was kind of a mentor, or he had albums out when we were just the rest of us kids were learning. So it's cool to be playing with him and just having fun with it.
Yeah, right on. And you come from, there's lots of pipers in your family and background on both sides of the pond. Is that fair to say?
More on my father's side. He was from South Uist in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, and his mother was a Curry. So that family over there had a really strong piping tradition in their family, and the Currys also over here, Alec Curry and Paddy Curry, and they're world famous these days in the piping world as being these last bastions of Cape Breton style piping. They're sadly passed on now, but it's funny that those two Curry families maintain that piping tradition, just father to son over 200 years, and you can trace back the lineage to the same family.
Wow.
In Scotland, so it's kind of neat.
So it all comes down to you.
I hope not.
I think you're a great, you and certainly your brothers and sister are a good example of certainly propelling the music and just being such stalwarts of it. And so, which reminds me too that, you've put out an album a couple of years ago with some family members on it.
Yeah, there's an album put out mostly with my older brother Angus. He's a musician in Scotland. And the album's called Peep is Feel, which translates to pipes and fiddle. And that was kind of the idea behind the album, was just to celebrate that musical link between those two instruments. And they're a lot of fun to play together and to listen to. And I play them both, and Angus plays them both. So we just tried to build an album around that sound.
Yeah.
But we had lots of awesome musicians in too, and the baby of the family, Callum, was in there and plays a rockin' piano solo.
Yeah.
But we had Paddy Gillis and Mac Moran and Boyd McNeil. Shelley Campbell was in there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, and it came through the Drivers Association from Celtic Colours. So that was a great boon for us.
Yeah, it helps to give that kind of start to. It can be a daunting thing to put out a CD and financially, and then the task of how you wanted to represent yourself. So I think it was great that it's anything to kind of help that initiative and of course give a voice to traditional music too, which is great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Getting that boost to get your first album out, and it's like the best business card you can have as a musician, kind of to represent what you want to put out there and give to people. So yeah, it's great.
Good. And you've also been involved with some of the concept shows we've done at the festival, and you were involved with the second version of Roots to the Future. It's probably a few years ago now.
Yeah.
How did that feel, being the only piper in the mix?
It felt like a novelty.
But you came up with, maybe you want to talk about how that came together, that show, and what it meant in terms of the composition side of it, and how that had to work together in the confines of that 7-person show.
Yeah, it was a total blast to do it, and it came together over a few years, and just working with songwriters was a really cool thing for me. Like, I've written a few tunes and that, but never collaborated with a songwriter to put words to anything. And we had Keith Mullins and Carmel Michael and who else was there? Carmen Townsend. That was really awesome to have some tunes with Carmen. Yeah, and we put some neat stuff together and got together a few weekends. And it was just a really collaborative thing. There wasn't a whole great deal of pressure on any one person, kind of thing. It was like in groups of 3 or 4 or 2. And if I had an idea and took it to Carmen and Keith, and they came back and wrote a whole set of lyrics within an hour or something. It was a very slow moving piece, and it was cool. Yeah.
Is that the song that Carmen wrote? I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when it was about a week before the festival, and it was at the Gaelic College that you were all coming together to work over the weekend. And I remember walking in, you guys were just, I think, after having put all the pieces together, and you played it, and just kind of in the corner in MacKenzie Hall, and it was, I think I started crying. Like, it was just really, really powerful, and I was just really blessed to kind of see it unfold literally before my eyes. I thought it was really, and the show itself came together really well too in Big Pond.
Yeah, it was neat. That tune or song, the tune was written and kind of sounded like a Gaelic-y type air. So I took it to Carmen and Keith, and Carmen said, well, I remember my mother saying when I was a kid, which is Mother Mary, kind of an exclamation or just gee whiz kind of phrase.
Right.
And so she built up a whole set of lyrics on that phrase as the chorus line. It was neat.
Yeah, it's really one of my really profound moments so far in the festival to see that. It's really, really nice. So besides, you're extremely talented and you play the pipes and you play the fiddle, what occupies your day in terms of the Monday to Friday? You're not just a musician, you do much more.
I guess so. My day job, I'm an engineer. I work for a biomedical engineering company in Mabu, luckily, where I grew up.
Yeah.
So Halifax Biomedical set up shop there, and they're a bit of a success story for rural Cape Breton in Nova Scotia, like a high-tech startup company. They should be in Toronto or somewhere, and it would be easier for them, but the CEO, it was kind of a statement of intent that he thinks that this is the way the world is going, and why not Mabu? Why not anywhere? The quality of life in rural Nova Scotia is such that he believes, and it's proven true, that he can attract the type of people that he wants working for him, and that will stick with the company and really put their heart and soul in.
Yeah.
So it's a real testament to what we're trying to do on the island, I think, and hopefully there's more and more of that.
I hope so too. I think we're on the way of making that happen, and I think you've just kind of answered my question, but I would say, how important is it for you to be living and working in Mabu and here in Cape Breton?
Yeah, it's huge for me. It's where I grew up and where I always wanted to come back to. I wasn't necessarily sure that I could, but yeah, I'm definitely thankful of the opportunity and try to take advantage.
That's great. But you, again too, you also give back. So you're teaching piping at home.
Yeah.
And you're on a board of directors for the Interpretive Centre in Judith, correct?
Right, yeah, the Celtic Music Interpretive Centre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think things are really, the centre's always done really great things, and you've been involved with the board now for a little while, is it?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years now, and things are going really well. We have a new director as of last year, Cheryl Smith, who's been doing a great job, and there's lots of new things happening there all the time. So it's nice to see they do a real service to the tradition and even their archives. They've got 1 million recordings in there that it's great to have a centre that all that stuff can be preserved and shared with anyone who wants to see it.
Yeah, they're doing great things, and certainly someone that we work and rely on too as the festival, and they have events during the summer, but during Celtic Colours as well, which is great. All good stuff. Well, I'm just aching to hear some more pipes, so would you give us a tune on the bagpipes there?
I'll give her a shot.
Sounds great. purchase Peep is Feel by Kenneth and his brother Angus MacKenzie on iTunes, cdbaby.com, or cranfordpub.com. We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our partner in the production of this podcast, Cape Breton University. Imagine studying music on a beautiful island known for its deep roots in music and culture. Cape Breton University offers a music program like no other in Canada. With an emphasis on traditional and popular music, CBU's music major provides an exciting alternative to conservatory-style classical or jazz music programs. Their course offerings are unique. The music theory courses are aimed at the needs of contemporary musicians and help you understand the music you play. In the applied music courses, you get to study with teachers who have worked with names like the Barry McNeils, Ashley McIsaac, and Natalie McMaster. Through work placements, you will gain experience in the music field tailored to your interests, whether it's studio experience, promotion, tourism, or artist management. Through the optional business minor, you can add smart, real-world management skills to the creative talent you develop. The ethnomusicology focus lets you explore local traditions, popular song, as well as music and dance from cultures all over the world. Their issues-based courses will immerse you in the debates that shape music today.
Cape Breton Island has magical effects. Your ears will delight. Your legs will walk through time. Your eyes will fill with wonder. Your arms will embrace. Your heart will never leave.
Good stuff, Kenneth.
Thanks.
Great tunes. Were those some that you learned from...
Yeah, there were some older tunes that I got mostly from John McLean, who's been at the festival a few times. He's a great piper with roots here in Cape Breton, and he's linked in with Alec Curry there, who would be his uncle, I believe.
Yes.
So he was a big influence on us growing up.
No kidding. What a powerhouse that fella is.
Yeah, he's great.
I've seen him a few times. There's a Piper's Cayley at Stress Bay Place, and he rocked it. He was so good.
Yeah, it makes it look effortless.
Yeah. So who would you learn pipes from? Who did you learn pipes from?
All kinds of people. Growing up, there wasn't really a regular teacher, but there was a teacher in Mabu at the time, a music teacher, Ed Rogers. Mm-hmm. Remember?
I took piano from him. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
So my best friend convinced me to start tenor lessons with him, and I had to convince my mother, who didn't want me to, because Angus, my older brother, already played.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
And then my buddy quit.
Who's your buddy?
Tyler McCachen.
Really?
So I'm still with it.
Do you rib him every time you see him? Like, Tyler, look at what you could have been.
Oh yeah, he's been talking about getting back into it. He regrets it.
They always regret it when they quit early.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So was that a hard conversation to convince to go back and say, Mom, let me learn the pipes?
A bit. It was just we were all getting involved with music when we were kids, and I had already started on the fiddle. Mm-hmm. I think just as a parent with more music lessons to deal with, we just had to convince them.
Yeah. Well, I remember growing up, certainly the pipes were always the way that the Mabu concerts were always started, and that was, we had lots of good number of pipers in Mabu, which was great.
Yeah. Hopefully we're getting some back too.
Yeah, you've got some I can see on the horizon there, I'd say.
Yeah. Definitely good group of kids growing up learning.
Yep, learning all facets of the culture at that too.
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, and that's not much different from you. I mean, your first language was Gaelic, right?
Yeah, we all were brought up, my family was brought up speaking Gaelic, along with English, I guess.
Well, when you went to school, I mean, you were quite comfortable speaking Gaelic.
Yeah, I remember first day of school, my older siblings telling me that you don't speak Gaelic at school, and I was kind of surprised. So to that point in my life, Gaelic had definitely been the dominant language.
Yeah. That's amazing. That I just marvel at that story because I think we're coming around to it maybe now, or slowly kind of going in that direction, but that's something that seems to echo of our grandparents' generation, or maybe our parents' generation, depending on the age of our parents, that was the story. But for our generation to have that, I think is powerful and speaks volumes to your mom and dad. That really, like for me, we can talk about going to fiddle class and driving to Antigonish and taking lessons from Stan Chapman. And I love that when it was our turn, all our parents drove up on Tuesday nights, and whoever's parent was driving got to sit in the front seat, right? So when it was your turn, your mom was always so good to keep us engaged on the hour-and-a-half drive, and we do.
Not sure where you're going with
No,
this.
we do the games. But one of the memories I have, and I was thinking about it this morning, is that we would always be chatting in the van going up and talking about, we'd play word games and word association games, which was really engaging and great. And then if there'd be one little second where your mom would have to talk to you, she always spoke to you in Gaelic, which was always really powerful. And I'd be sitting there thinking, oh yeah, like this is just what you do. And I think in that van, it was an example of what clearly was happening at your household.
Yeah, they definitely made sure that every effort or every chance they got to speak Gaelic with us, because they and I do put a lot of value, and I think we're seeing more of it, a lot of value in that language as more than being just a language. It's a set of values and a whole bunch of stuff. So they tried to kick it into us as much as they could.
It was great. No, and it shows. What was it like growing up in Mabu? Because I always will see videos posted recently on Facebook and Instagram of Christmas on Backstreet, and you have a musical extended family as well that certainly get together and probably, like you say, live that culture and celebrate as a family.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. On my mother's side, there's a big crew of cousins and aunts and uncles, and a bunch of them are musicians, and in all different sorts of genres, from Rankin and Nick McClellan, two of my cousins, have a band called Party Boots.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of fiddlers and guitar players and singers, so it's a lot of fun to get together and have that old-fashioned kitchen ceilidh.
Yeah. And there's been some ceilidhs in your house down in the coal mines too.
A few, here and there.
Just a few. We'll get the milling frolics going. So, pipes versus fiddle, which is more difficult?
Difficult?
Yeah.
I think any instrument, it takes the same amount of effort or to get to a certain level of proficiency.
Yeah.
But pipes, like when you're starting off, there's so much groundwork you have to cover, so much technique and gracings and embellishments that you have to learn on the little practice chanter before you even get onto the pipes.
Yeah.
So that can be a little frustrating to new beginners and things, and it's kind of that first hill before you get to play a tune or anything, whereas the fiddle, you can teach someone Twinkle Twinkle in the first lesson, or you can get onto tunes fairly quickly.
Right.
So it's more of a gradual climb.
Right.
There seems to be a pretty flat part for the pipes starting off until you get really going.
Well, I don't know if I know too many pipers and fiddlers that do both, but obviously you play the similar tunes on both instruments. Is it tough to kind of turn that part of the brain to switch over to the other instrument?
No, definitely not. It's a whole different world playing the fiddle and playing the pipes. Even in a gig where I'm switching from one to the other, it's really gratifying to get on the pipes and let loose kind of thing. It feels powerful, and it's engaging in a whole different way than the fiddle is. But I like the subtleties and things that you can get away with on the fiddle, and just you have more dynamic ability there too on the fiddle to change your volume where you're kind of stuck, locked in with the pipes.
I suppose. I guess I get so caught up in the technique because it's vastly different technique. So I'm always curious about how how you switch modes there. But
no, there's not really any switching, and I think both influence the other. Like a lot of my fiddle technique probably tries to mimic some of the technique I have on the pipes. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's some crossover there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And do you feel strongly about kind of the sitting versus standing part of the performance element? I mean, I always prefer to sit, but I mean, what's it like with the pipes? Do you?
Yeah, with the pipes it's kind of interesting because I grew up standing playing, but same as the fiddle, I much rather sit and play. Just gives you you get a better feel for it, and as you know, you can tap your foot for one thing, but it's just easier to get into the swing and into the groove of it.
Yeah.
If you're sitting, I find it's just natural for our music.
Yeah. Good for the dance music.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you find it tough to play for a set? I mean, you probably haven't done a whole dance on the pipes, have you?
No, not a whole dance. No.
Not there yet.
There's been some talk of it, but yeah, it's kind of physically a big exertion. So
Yeah. It's like running probably a marathon, is it?
No, not that bad. But.
Not that bad. Well, that's great, Kenneth. I really appreciate you letting us get to know you better and learn more about what you do. So thanks very much. Tapaliv.
Tapaliv se, bhí seo agus am dachas go bhéiting a lístú benach glíb.
And thanks for tuning in. We'll end today with a clip from a special performance recorded during Celtic Colours 2012. As a result of years of effort in homes, communities, and organisations, the Gaelic language is on the rebound in Cape Breton. At the show, our Gaelic kids, our Clan Gaelach, in Christmas Island during Celtic Colours 2012, we saw this evidence. 3 generations of Gaelic singers performed in this concert as students from the core Gaelic program in 2 schools, and joined with their elders for an afternoon of Gaelic song, tunes, and dance.
Dua